What's going on? So, as you can see in the title, I've officially played 100 hours in Seven Deadly Sins Origin. So, I've gotten a pretty good idea of the game and the strengths and weaknesses, the pluses and the negatives. And I wanted to go over them and give people an idea of what this game is like and what it's going to be in the future. Um, so to start off, I always like to start with the bad first, and then we can get to the good. And I'm just gonna do my daily route while I'm talking about this. So to start off with some of the bad things, I would say a lack of content is a problem. Um, I'll show you in 1 second. This is a problem I actually do have with the game. And if you go here and go to this, yeah, weakness element. So this is a very big deal in the game. If you have this weakness element against the boss, you're going to do very well against it. And if you don't, it's very difficult to do. On Abyss, on Hell, you can really do this with any team. You don't really need these elements, but on Abyss, you actually do. I have not been able to clear Abyss difficulty without using an Earth team in both uh, regards. And then look here. Okay, so he's weak to Darkness and Holy. But you see, it's still. Why is Darkness in both? That's what I don't get. And then if you go over here, you see, and these are like the four most important bosses. Bear in mind. Uh, she's only weak to Earth. So that's now two bosses weak to Earth. And then here, just go in. They're weak to fire and darkness. So darkness is actually effective against three different bosses. And then fire is only effective against one, earth two, holy one. And there's no wind or lightning, so you gotta assume the next abyss difficulty. Well, actually, no, it should be the same. So that's something I don't really like is if you don't have an Earth team, you're kind of screwed for end game content. Like you really do need an Earth team to be able to do anything end game. So that's one thing I don't like. Um, Other thing is, early launch, a lot of bugs. There are a lot of bugs, a lot of glitches, a lot of frustrating ones too, because some of them will just like make it where you literally can't play the game and you have to restart it. It's happened to me many times. But I don't really give too much crap to the developers for that because it's like, it's a new game, and most games nowadays have pretty poor launches in terms of like their quality of life at the beginning. It's always very buggy and very unpolished. Um, you can tell they were a little rushed in the project, but the devs are like they are making it known that the game is not in the best state, and they're trying to get it to that. So that is a plus. Um, Another big negative is what I'm doing right now. Like just going around getting materials can be a little tedious. But it is not the most tedious part of this game. The part of this I like the least. And I guess it kind of ties into the engraving equipment system, but it's the drop rates here for the gear. So if you see here, these two pieces of gear are both at 25%. And then you have these three pieces of gear. Outside of the ring, this is completely useless. You're never really going to use a top, like ever. Um, if you use engraved equipment, I'll go to a character and show that quickly. If you use engraved equipment, you're not allowed to equip anything other than these three. So the rings are important. The rings are a big deal. And these are also a big deal. But to craft this, you only need a specific set of gear. So this, the Star Guardian set, and then the Nightmare Revive Nightmare set. these are the only pieces of gear that you can use to create that engraved equipment I just showed you. So when you pull this or this uh, or any of these, you know, it's literally useless. Like you're not ever really gonna use it. I only am using it currently for characters I'm not investing in, so it's like it's borderline pointless and it's very frustrating to grind. So that would probably be like one of my biggest complaints, to be honest. Um, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Like they can easily fix that. All they gotta do is fix the drop rates. Like make it more like trying to think like uh, honestly I would just take out the top and then just run the rings and the regular gear, because the rings aren't the worst thing to pull, but when you get the top or like the boots, it's like you're just never using it. So it's like it's completely pointless unless you're using it for engraved gear, which that green top I showed you can't be put into any engraved gear. So that is a very annoying part of this game. Um, but in terms of negatives, I would say that about wraps it up. There's some other like minor stuff like with some bosses, but they've already kind of addressed that, which brings me into the positives. Which I want to say the very first positive I would talk about is the devs. Um, Now the game isn't in the best state as of like its initial release, but personally, I think the devs have been very generous in terms of their oh I fucked that up have been very generous in terms of their uh, like reward system that they have given out a lot of free shit. I mean, recently they just gave a free SSR selector, which is huge for Abyss because anyone can get Deanne, which means anyone can clear endgame content. And they have like all their patch notes and their dev notes have been very detailed. They've addressed all of the community's concerns and like they're listening to feedback. They're all listening to feedback. And looking at it, like I do feel heard as a player because they are acknowledging the faults in the game and they are doing something about it. They are making consistent changes. They've already improved I believe two of the bosses for jumping around too much. I think it was the dragon and the spider. The spider, if you have played that, jumped around way too much. It was so annoying to deal with, and they did address that. And there's a lot of other things they address, like the minor thing, quality of life stuff. But that's the sign of a good developer. And I know that sounds like that should just be the industry standard, but the truth of the matter is it's not. So when you do get it, it is very nice. Um, Another big plus, and you'll see just with me going around, the graphics in this game are absolutely beautiful. Um, I know uh, console users and mobile have struggled, but as a PC player, I've had no problem with the performance, and I've been very impressed with the graphics. Um, so going on from that, I wanted to talk about my actually favorite part about this game, and it's a big reason why I enjoy it so much. Each character has three different weapons, and these three different weapons all have a completely different build and kit and type. So this would be holy, this is physical, and this is earth. And then we can go here and check out the stats. The adventure skill applies in the open world, but each weapon has its own passive, his own normal attack, basic attack, tag skill, ultimate move. Like it's amazing. And some of the tag skills do, yeah. But it restores magic gauge by 200, increases hero's crit chance by 15% for 20 seconds, and then this does nothing. But each one has a different purpose. This is better for healing. This is more of a support build here. This is a pure support for Earth. It's it's here to get the magic gauge up a little bit and then increase Earth damage. That's its main purpose. And then also, its King's Earth build has a pretty cool ult in that it only costs one magic consumption or whatever you call that. It only costs one, which is very cheap for it all. So if you're looking to iframe something and you don't have any stamina left, like this is a perfect move to use. And then this is his holy kit, which is supposed to be like his DPS. I've tried this; it kind of sucks, but regardless, I think it's actually really fun that every character has three separate kits they can use. So you can use one character and invest everything in them, but you can use them as a DPS, a support, a tank. Like you have options. You're not limited to one way of using a character. Obviously, some kits are better than others, but if I go to Elaine here, Elaine is, I would say, one of the characters that has the best overall because all three of her kits are good. This is her DPS kit, and then both of these are a support type kit, and all three are good. They're a lot better with her engraved equipment, but all three are very good options. And that's just one thing I think is very fun in this game is the ability to be able to use multiple kits for one character. It's going to make it a lot more fun when you pull for a new character because you're going to be able to have fresh animations with them when you're using them because you'll probably main one weapon. You get a little bored, just switch up the weapon, try something new. And I want to go over the masteries here. Well, let me look at this. Yeah. So if you're really early game, I would recommend just doing one full tree on your DPS, whichever, like, for instance, you're using this for a DPS. I would just get all of these because the substats here, let me shoot. I have, there we go. The substats here only apply to the weapon you equip. So if I unlock all these substats and I equip this mastery, I won't get any of the benefits from this. The middle ones, these are universal, but the substats here are not. They only apply to the specific kit, but there is a purpose to maxing everything out, and the reason being you get one potential for every time you max out a mastery. So on your own, you can automatically get a character up to 4 potential, which means if you're seeing this and you're like, wow, that's ridiculous, I thought so too at the start, you only need 6 copies to 10 a unit. I mean, it's still ridiculous, but I mean, it's a gotcha game. What do you expect? Like, that's what happens. Um, so, those are some huge positives right there. And then, like I said before, the quality of life improvements have been very nice. And my general assessment of this game in its current state is, if you're looking for a polished game like a Hoyoverse type shit, you're just not gonna get that here. At least not right away. So if you don't like games that are a little quirky and have some issues they have to work through, just move on because this ain't gonna be for you for a while. But if you like the IP, I would highly recommend sticking it out with this game because I think this game has a lot of potential. First of all, I've never really seen a game with this kind of setting, with these characters, because all like the Hoyoverse games and people that have copied them, it's always been original characters. It's never really been for me like an exciting IP or characters I'm actually interested in, but this game is. I'm a big Bond fan, so I'm very excited to pull for that, and I'm sure there are a lot of other people that have favorite characters haven't been released. I mean, none of the demons have been released. Zeldris, Estarossa, Derriere, Monspeet. We haven't gotten any of the goddesses. Um, we're missing a lot of the sins. Merlin, Gother, Bon, Escanor. It's like there's a lot of really cool characters in the show that we haven't gotten to see in the game yet, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be summoning for a bunch of different units, which is what I'm really looking forward to. And then last thing I want to talk about is the shop. So right away, I do want to say they give you a hell of a deal right here. The weapon selection bundle is actually incredible here. Like $1 to get an SSR weapon. The amount of materials you have to get for SSR weapons can be a little rough. Um, the Journey Beans is also good. You get a multi for $10, which is always a good deal. Um, if you've seen, if you run any kind of gacha game, you know this deal. I mean, it's always good value. They did release the Hawk Pass recently. Um, I might buy that. And I mean, the rewards are okay. Again, once again, you're really just buying it for this. This they give you an SSR um, selection chest at level 5, so you get this like pretty much instantly. And the pass is like $10, so it's not anything like I would say in terms of purchases. They've made it fairly reasonable for like a frugal player to actually do stuff. Um, and then they also have this whale shop. So if you've seen in the bundles over here, every time you buy something, you're getting some loyalty points. And with those loyalty points, you can put them in here and get a bunch of shit. Me, I pretty much always get platinum because that's what I'm bottlenecked the most with. Um, Weapon crafting blueprints tempting for me, but I probably won't get that. This is a material I do have a problem with. They don't really give you a way to get this consistently right now. You can't craft it, and the only way you can really get it is by clearing the hell difficulty on bosses, and it's only a first time reward. So that's a pretty big problem to have. They are giving it out in like events, which I personally have to do at the moment. Um, I need to capture Force Golem and Vanya, and this is something I almost forgot to go over. This is an excellent event that they released. You get a lot of free shit here. They give you a crap ton of cube keys, and you're also getting 200 of these seals and everything. And I'll quickly show you what those seals do. So there are different shops in every town. This is in Leonis, and there's one big thing you can get in Leonis every week, which is this. This is the only way I know to like actually get this consistently, but unfortunately it resets every week. So it's gonna take a while to really rank these up, and with the amount of engraved equipment I'm trying to make, it is a little frustrating. These are not a huge deal, but I'll go over the costumes here. So they added something in the recent update which made making costumes much better. And every time you make a engraved equipment, you get a new skin. And with that new skin, you get 500 Primogem for every new skin you unlock, which I think is honestly a very, very good deal. Because if I go into the draw here, as you see, I've saved up 135 summons here, and I did summon to 120 on Melee. And yes, I have spent money on the game, but not a significant amount. And I feel like anyone can grind a pity on this game. It is not that difficult. It's just gonna take some time. Um, but yeah, anyone can grind a pity in this game. It's not that is a big plus. The gacha I would say is quite forgiving in terms of getting pity. Um, there can always be improvements, but overall, I would say that's okay. And then in terms of the strength of the character class, I think this is also one of the best parts about the game. There's so many viable units you can use. Um, the only issue is for endgame content, Deanne is really like the only one that matters. Um, she's just like she's just so much better than everyone else when it comes to Abyss content, and that I would say is the only issue is the time limit. Obviously, if you didn't have a time limit, you could complete any boss with any team as long as you're skilled. Like that's all there is to it. But if you ever played the solo leveling game, it's kind of like that. You have to clear the boss in a certain amount of time. So it doesn't really matter how good you are, you do need to do a certain amount of damage. I would like them to maybe make bosses weaker to different elements, or maybe make it like 3 elements they're weak to, so that way you can bring different teams and don't have to just run the same thing over and over and over again. But they're bringing in new content with every update, and I do highly recommend getting into this game now. It kind of feels like a game where if you played the Cyberpunk 2077 launch, the game was really bad. It had a lot of problems. Obviously, it looked beautiful even then, but it was pretty bad. Like, it was almost unplayable. And I tried to play it at launch, and I just couldn't do it. But then, like, I would say like 8 months later, I came back to the game, and it was so polished. I mean, they had done so many updates to really fix all the issues, and they'd added more content, and I had a blast finishing that game. I feel like this is going to be that kind of game where you come back after six months to a year, and the game just looks like a completely different product. They are making drastic changes very quick, and I don't think it's going to be very long before the game is optimal. So, my final word on the review here would say I would probably give it a, in its current state, I would give it a 6 out of 10. With all the problems it currently has and the issues, the bug issues, and some of the quality of life problems, I don't think it deserves like an 8 or anything like that. But with the bones of the game and like the graphics and all that, I think bring it up to a 6. So I would recommend getting into this game for sure. But just fair warning, it's not like a perfectly polished game off of release. You're not going to get that immediately. So that's it. Let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed.